to the class of 2022-2023, if you will, and we'll talk about matric results in a moment. First of all, coastal schools are going back to class today. Last week, inland schools welcome back pupils. Reporters on the ground around the country. So how's day one of 2023 going? Cape Town, good morning. How are you looking? Aviwe Mtila. Let's get a sense of what the MEC is saying.
Morning, Gareth, and school's going to be underway any minute now at Starling Primary. Of course, it is day one of the coastal schools here. And of course, we've been speaking to a number of parents from yesterday. We do know the province itself says that it has catered for at least 99.2% of those learners that are starting grade 1 to 8, all of them been placed. But there is that 955 learners that are yet to be placed. The frustrations was on the ground, and it's some of what I want to touch now with the MEC of Education in the province. MEC, thank you for joining us at eNCA. A lot of frustration that we were met with, of course, some of those parents that don't have their learners placed. Some of them said that they actually applied timelessly. They applied to, for example, one parent saying 10 different schools, not allocated a place in one of them. Is this a problem with the online system, or where are the problem, though, the discrepancies?
I do understand that there is that many parents are frustrated because they have been unable to get places for their children. The pressures build. There are many parents, for example, who are not able to get their schools of choice. There are also a large number of parents who have applied late. And which is a big concern for the department. A large number of applications, for example, came in after schools closed on the 15th of December 2022. And then, of course, there is just a huge demand for places in the Western Cape. But we have said we are going to leave no stone unturned, and we are going to work with parents in order to find places for their children over the coming days.
And how soon will those places be found? Because the suggestion is that it could happen as far as February, and of course there are panic parents on the ground. Some of them saying that they're not getting adequate communication from the various district departments, sending them back to the actual schools.
So we will be working with parents to resolve these issues. There are a couple of options. First, based on previous experience, we know that school places will become available fairly shortly because learners who have been allocated places may not take up those places at school. We will start to get information from schools about where places are available, and we will then start to offer places to parents. We also have residual mobiles, and once we better understand the kinds of pressures that we're under and where those pressures are arising, we will start to deploy those mobiles so that we can create places. But we've also implemented a rapid school build program. We've already added 561 classes, which is extraordinary given the fact that we only delivered 212 classrooms last year. So we're building at a rate of almost 4 times the rate of last year. We've also added 1,143 teachers to our basket of posts, and we will continue for the next 3 months to build an additional 280 classrooms to deal with the admission pressure in the Western Cape.
So this would suggest then, MEC, that this is a bigger infrastructure problems, a lot of learners coming back to school, not enough schools.
We have huge demands. I mean, if you consider, we would have, on average, if you look at the statistics over the last 6 years, over 20,000 additional learners, most of those learners coming from outside the province. That's equivalent to about 20 additional schools a year. And so you're absolutely correct. We do have to expand the system dramatically and build new schools. And we're going to do that in 2 ways. First, we've implemented a rapid school build program. We've demonstrated, for example, at Saxon C Junior Primary, that we can put up a junior high school with 9 classes and a learning resource center in 65 days. So it can be done. We now need to invest more in building more schools in our province, and we need to mobilize more investment by the private sector into more independent schools so that we expand access to education in the Western Cape.
And just maybe lastly, what do you say then to those frustrated parents, 955, that their learners aren't placed yet? They have to go back to work and they don't know when their children will be back at school. What do you say to them?
I'll say three things. First, I understand your frustration. Second, we are absolutely committed and will leave no stone unturned in order to find your child a place. And third, we would recommend that if your child does not have a place, please approach the district officers rather than the schools. The district officers are best placed, I think, to assist parents in the Western Cape.
But it seems those district officers are turning them back to the actual schools, MEC. When can we get a commitment on when they'll all be placed?
Well, we are going to work at placing those learners as soon as possible. I can't make a commitment about when every learner will be placed. Consider the fact that every request for placement is unique. Every learner is unique, and it is not easy just simply to place a learner. There are grade choices, language choices, subject choices, and in many cases special needs challenges that have to be taken into account in placing children. But we will commit to doing everything we can to support parents to ensure that every child has a place in a school in the Western Cape.
All right, thank you very much. The MEC of Education in the Western Cape, as day one of the coastal schools are opening here. Of course, that commitment that patients need to remain patient, the parents, and of course those learners will be placed. 955 of them was the latest number that we got from the province of learners that still need to be placed at various schools.
Thank you very much. Out at a primary school in Cape Town, Starling Primary. It seems like a relatively good start there, but as we hear from the Education MEC for the Western Cape, there are some problems, and what was more worrying